Back here on HQ Spotlight, in the midst of Robert Saleh getting fired by the Jets, the head coach hot seat in the NFL is top of mind. So we're taking a look at the head coach hot seat according to Jordan Dajani for CBS Sports. Kevin Stefanski, someone who won Coach of the Year a year ago, is number 5 on this list. We have Matt Eberflus, whose record with the Bears, 13-26. Sirianni rounding out the top 3. Brian Daboll is on there. And coming in at number 1 is Doug Peterson. And before the Jags got that first win, he was asked about his job security. He thought that was a strange question. It's not. We're still talking about his job security. Also say he's been in that conversation for a while. The Jags are sitting at 1-4, finally getting a win in Week 5 against the Colts, and now they head to London, look to make it 2 in a row against the Bears. Now, Pete, really quickly, if the Jags lose either of these games in London, is Doug Peterson the head coach when they come back to Jacksonville?
Well, I don't know if it's either, but if they lose both, then it could be a real problem. Look, they got a reprieve last week by winning that game against the Colts. But if they lose 2 games in London, particularly the last one to the Patriots, who will be playing a rookie quarterback in Drake May, he could be in big problems. I mean, big trouble. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll win one of the 2 and maybe even both of them. But he's definitely on the hot seat. I mean, this was an owner who said before the season, this is the most talented team in Jaguars history. That's what he said. He was wrong when he said it. He was way wrong when he said it, by the way. But that was the kind of the enthusiasm that he had. And if the coach doesn't get that team to the playoffs, I think he's in big trouble.
Yeah, the Jags are sticking with those 90s throwback jerseys, and they're trying to play like they're in the 90s as well to save Doug Peterson's job. Let's talk about number 3 on that list, Lige. That is Nick Sirianni. All the coordinators are different now, so the attention goes to him. How bad do the Eagles need to win coming off of this bye in order for Sirianni to kind of get off the hot seat, in your opinion, Lige?
Jacqueline and Pete, I think this is utterly ridiculous that people are talking about him being on the hot seat. Let's not forget, Pete and Jacqueline, this guy's been to the playoffs in 3 consecutive years. That first year, nobody had them going to the playoffs, right? He went to a Super Bowl just 2 years ago. I think Philadelphia fans tend to forget, Pete, they only have 1 Super Bowl win. And it didn't happen until 2017 with Doug Peterson. Like, I get it. You want to be competing for Super Bowls every single year. But why don't you ask some other franchises how green the grass is on the other side that don't make the playoffs at all? Let's not also forget, when they played Tampa Bay, Pete, that was the perfect storm. Tampa Bay just got boat raced by Denver. Did you not think they were going to come out on a mission in that game? Like, Baker Mayfield was perfect that game. Also, the Eagles were significantly banged up. They didn't have their 2-star receivers. Devontae Smith didn't play. A.J. Brown didn't play. Lane Johnson, their right tackle, didn't play. And for some odd reason, Pete, they decided not to run the ball their first 3 drives. They finally got Saquon Barkley going. And look what happened. He broke a long run for a touchdown. So I think the Eagles will be fine. I'm glad our producers were in wavelength because I want you to look at the schedule. They have the Browns. We know there's so many issues going on with them. The Giants just had a big win versus Seattle, but the Philadelphia Eagles are more talented than them. The Bengals can't stop anybody on defense. And then they have the Jaguars. Like, the Eagles could win these next 4 games and be 6-2. I think it's utterly ridiculous people are talking about Sirianni being on the hot seat because people tend to forget this guy's went to the playoffs 3 years in a row and just went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah, and from that standpoint, it appears to be utterly ridiculous, and it probably is, but you also have to look at it from a common sense standpoint. This guy fired both coordinators. When you fire both coordinators and replace them with 2 coordinators you brought in, and it still isn't working, you go into the spotlight. It becomes even more about you. So they better turn it around. Jalen Hurts has not improved, and that's a problem. That's a Nick Sirianni problem. When he was going well, everybody said, look how great the offense is. Nick Sirianni has this thing cooking. And I know Shane Steichen was there, but it's you're the coach. And ultimately, him going wrong is your responsibility. So, like you said, the next 4 games will decide if Sirianni gets it. I don't think the heat is unwarranted. When you fire both coordinators and you put the bullseye firmly on you, I think you're going to get the heat.
Lige, if you
real quick, Jacqueline, real quick. I would say this, Pete. You have to understand, and you know this. You covered the game for a long time. when you lose 2 coordinators in 1 year, there's an acclimation period. And he had to replace both, not one, both coordinators. And you talked about it. Shane Steichen was masterful in this offense. He lost Jonathan Gannon on defense, and it's hard to recover from that when you do that. So, yes, he experimented with 2 other coordinators. It didn't work. Now he has 2 new guys, and it's going to take a while for them to gel on offense and defense. But I think that needs to be said that once you lose 2 coordinators in one offseason and they become head coaches and both of them have had pockets of success, that's a big thing to overcome as a head coach, losing 2 coordinators in 1 year.
Now, Lige, I know you were talking about it being utterly ridiculous for Sirianni. I think it's kind of utterly ridiculous that we have Kevin Stefanski on this list coming in at number 5, somebody who won Coach of the Year a year ago. Pete, I don't think he can make Deshaun Watson play any better. Is it warranted that he's on this list, considering he had Joe Flacco off the couch last year and took this team to the playoffs?
Hell no, it's not. There's no way he should be on this list. That's absurd. No. And the reason it's absurd is because he doesn't want to play that quarterback. Nobody's told me that, but I've heard rumblings of it. If he had his way, he didn't want him there in the first place, is what I heard. He didn't want Deshaun Watson. He was okay with what he had, and he was forced to take Deshaun Watson on as a quarterback. And right now, I don't know this 100%, but he can't be happy with being forced to start Deshaun Watson either. They need to make a change. Deshaun Watson looks disinterested. He's not very good. He runs around way too much. He doesn't have any timing in his game at all. He doesn't come close to looking like the same player he was with the Texans. And when he was with the Texans, he was a little overrated to begin with. So it's a bad situation for Kevin Stefanski. If he's smart, he will get rid of Deshaun Watson and sit him down and play Jameis Winston and see if that gives his team some life.
Yeah, Pete, it's comical that he's on this list. This is a 2-time head coach of the year. And to Jacqueline's point, he just won it last year, right? You can clearly see his hands are tied. He's running an offense that he isn't comfortable running because of the quarterback. The quarterback wants to run a certain spread type offense. That's never been Kevin Stefanski, Pete, right? He wants to get in 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, run the ball, heavy play action pass, attack the middle of the field. And they're doing the total opposite because Deshaun Watson's at quarterback. Now, I thought that Deshaun Watson would turn over and not be the guy that was with the Houston Texans, but some semblance of him. But that's been the opposite of what has actually happened. Now, the team hasn't helped him at all, Pete. The receivers have been god-awful when you talk about drops, and Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy. The offensive line has been a turnstile key where guys have been banged up in front all across the line, but he hasn't played well either. So, whether Nick Chubb comes back or not, I don't think things are going to change in Cleveland. But if you're Kevin Stefanski, you got to put your foot down and be like, we got to get back to the brand of football that I'm accustomed to. Because look at the history. We win when we play that type of brand of football.
It's going to be probably one of the most expensive.
You know what, real quick, Jacqueline, a year ago, they lost both tackles, they lost Chubb, and they brought in Joe Flacco, and they had worse receivers, and they still made the playoffs. It's the same thing. Offensive line banged up, no Chubb. The receivers are better, and he's not any better. So what's the common denominator? It's Deshaun Watson. You need to bench him.
Yeah, the most expensive benching that's probably going to be that's ever happened for the Browns if they do so. Lige, Pete, we appreciate it. Always good to see you guys talking about what coaches are on the hot seat in the NFL. More NFL talk coming your way on Pushing the Pile with Kyle Long and Mike Renner. You can find it wherever you find your pods or on YouTube. You can watch right now by scanning that QR code.